My child, this moment is not an accident. You did not arrive here by coincidence, scrolling without meaning. Something within you has been stirring, questioning, sensing that what you've been shown is not the full story. And now, right now, God is gently yet firmly pulling the veil back. The truth is being unmasked, not to shame you, but to free you. Not to break you, but to awaken you. There are things that were hidden from your eyes for your protection once, but the season of protection has shifted into a season of revelation. You have felt the tension. The quiet discomfort that wouldn't go away. The sense that something wasn't aligning, even when everything looked fine on the surface. You tried to silence it. You told yourself you were overthinking. You told yourself to be patient, to be calm, to wait. And waiting was not wrong, but now waiting has given way to seeing. God is not whispering this time. He is speaking clearly. And He is telling you not to ignore what He is showing you. There have been patterns that repeated in your life with uncanny precision. Conversations that felt oddly familiar. Behaviors that triggered the same emotional responses. Promises that sounded beautiful but never fully materialized. You began to normalize it. You began to adapt. You told yourself that this was just how life works, that nothing is ever truly clear, that confusion is just part of the journey. But confusion is not from God. And now He is lifting the fog. You may have been loyal to situations that were slowly draining you. Loyal to people who benefited from your silence. Loyal to dynamics that kept you stuck in cycles of doubt and disappointment. You gave time, energy, and heart where truth was withheld. And God saw every moment of it. He saw every tear you swallowed. Every question you carried alone. Every time you defended what was quietly breaking you. And now, in mercy, He is saying, enough. What is being revealed to you now is not new to God. He always knew. But you weren't ready to see it before. Your heart was still hoping for a different ending. Your faith was still trying to redeem something that had already shown you its limits. And God, in His patience, let you walk that road until your spirit was strong enough to handle the truth without being destroyed by it. The truth does not always arrive gently. Sometimes it arrives like a breaking wave. Sudden. Unavoidable. Shocking. It interrupts your comfort. It disrupts your plans. It forces you to reevaluate what you thought was solid. And that is where you may be right now, standing in the middle of realization, wondering how you didn't notice before, wondering how long it had really been this way. Do not be ashamed of that. You were loving. You were hopeful. You were faithful with what you knew. That is not weakness. That is the purity of your heart. But now your heart is being paired with discernment. And that combination changes everything. You may feel anger rising. Or sadness. Or even grief for what you thought was real. There may be a part of you that wants to go back to not knowing, back to the illusion, back to the familiar version of things. That temptation is natural. But God is asking you not to turn back. Not this time. The unmasking has already begun. And once truth is revealed, it cannot be unseen. You are not losing something right now, you are shedding something. You are not being abandoned, you are being redirected. You are not being punished, you are being protected at a deeper level than before. What is leaving your life now was never meant to walk with you into what God is preparing next. There are doors closing that you once prayed would stay open. There are connections weakening that you once begged God to preserve. And now, in hindsight, you will begin to understand why certain prayers were not answered the way you wanted. God was not ignoring you. He was sparing you. You were never meant to carry the weight you've been carrying. You were never meant to constantly question your worth in rooms where your value was already decided. You were never meant to shrink so others could stay comfortable. And you were never meant to mistake attachment for alignment. The truth God is unmasking now may challenge how you see certain people. It may change how you interpret past conversations. It may expose motives that were cleverly concealed by charm, by words, by timing. And that realization can hurt deeply, especially when your intentions were pure. But hear this clearly: God is not exposing the truth to harden your heart. He is doing it to heal it properly at last. You cannot heal what you are still pretending isn't wounded. You cannot rebuild what you refuse to admit has cracked. You cannot move forward while constantly explaining away what your spirit already knows. Right now, there is a quiet strength being placed inside you. Not the kind that shouts. The kind that stands firm without needing to argue. The kind that no longer begs for honesty because it has learned to recognize truth on its own. The kind that no longer chases clarity because it has chosen peace. There may be someone in your life whose mask is slipping. You see it in small inconsistencies. In changed tone. In distance that grows without explanation. In words that no longer match actions. You feel it even when nothing dramatic has happened. And God is saying, you are not imagining this. The truth often arrives not as a dramatic revelation, but as a series of quiet confirmations. A discomfort here. A delay there. A sudden insight that lands in your mind without warning. A message like this one appearing at precisely the moment your heart was asking, what is really going on? You are not behind. You are right on time. What you do with this truth will determine the next chapter of your life. You may feel tempted to confront, to demand explanations, to force confessions, to push for answers right now. But sometimes the greatest power is not in confrontation, but in clarity. You do not need to announce what you now see. You simply need to stop participating in what drains you. Your boundaries will begin to shift. Your tolerance for dishonesty will decrease. Your patience with manipulation will fade. And that is not because you are becoming cold, it is because you are becoming wise. God is restoring your sight. You will begin to notice who respects your growth and who resists it. Who celebrates your strength and who secretly preferred your silence. Who benefits from your confusion and who benefits from your clarity. These things will become impossible to ignore. And yes, this may cost you some relationships. But it will save your soul. You are stepping into a season where truth will be your shield. Where peace will matter more than approval. Where your no will be just as holy as your yes. where you will no longer abandon yourself just to keep others comfortable. The truth God is unmasking right now is not meant to isolate you. It is meant to align you with what is real, with what is safe, with what is healthy, with what is rooted in mutual respect and genuine love. There is a version of you on the other side of this revelation that you have not met yet. Stronger, calmer, clearer, less anxious, less desperate to prove your worth, more anchored, more aware, more free. You don't have to rush. You don't have to make every decision today. But you do have to stop ignoring what you now see. This is the moment where your growth becomes irreversible. There is a quiet shift happening inside you now. It may not look dramatic on the outside, but internally something has already changed. You are no longer asleep. You are no longer blindly trusting what contradicts your spirit. You are beginning to listen differently, to your discernment, to the subtle warnings that once felt like anxiety, to the inner pause that told you to wait, to look again, to question what seemed settled. That pause was never fear. It was God teaching you to see. For a long time, you carried doubt as if it were a weakness. You wondered why you couldn't just relax into certainty like others seemed to do. You judged yourself for questioning what others accepted so easily. But now you begin to realize that your questioning was not rebellion, it was awareness becoming conscious. It was your soul refusing to settle for half-truths. And now God is confirming what your spirit has known in fragments for a long time. There are moments from your past that suddenly make sense in a new way. Things you brushed off. Red flags you minimized. Words that sounded kind but carried hidden weight. Actions that didn't quite line up, but you chose love over logic, hope over evidence. You weren't foolish, you were faithful. But faith does not mean ignoring reality. True faith means trusting God enough to face reality when He reveals it. You may feel torn between what you hoped was true and what you now see is true. That inner conflict can feel overwhelming. One part of you still wants the old story to be real. Another part of you knows the new truth will cost you something. That tension is the space between who you were and who you are becoming. It is uncomfortable, but it is holy. Right now, God is not asking you to harden your heart. He is asking you to strengthen it. Because what is being revealed to you is not just about them, it is about you. About how much you have been carrying. About how often you stayed silent to keep peace. About how many times you bent when you should have stood. About how deeply you loved even when love was not being handled with the same care in return. You taught people how to treat you by what you tolerated. And now, God is helping you rewrite that lesson. You may be realizing that some people only loved the version of you that overgave. The version that overexplained. The version that waited endlessly. The version that forgave again and again without requiring change. And when you begin to shift out of that version, there will be resistance. Not everyone will applaud your healing. Not everyone will understand your boundaries. But the ones who are meant to walk with the real you will not demand that you stay broken for their comfort. The truth that is being unmasked now is also revealing where you have been outgrowing your environment. Some places once felt like home, but now they feel tight. Some conversations once felt safe, but now they feel shallow. Some relationships once felt exciting, but now they feel exhausting. This is not loss, it is evolution. You are being called into a deeper clarity. You may notice that you no longer feel the need to explain yourself as much. You no longer feel that familiar panic when you sense distance. You no longer chase reassurance the way you once did. Instead, you pause. You observe. You wait with a steadiness that surprises even you. This is what happens when truth begins to anchor you. You are learning that not everything needs a reaction. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every silence needs to be filled. Sometimes silence is where God is speaking the loudest. There may be someone who senses that you are changing. They may try to pull you back into old patterns. They may suddenly show interest, kindness, or attention in ways they didn't before. The timing will feel suspicious. And that is because it is. When you begin to detach from what once had emotional control over you, it often tries one last time to regain power. Stay alert. Stay grounded. Do not mistake sudden attention for genuine transformation. Real change is consistent. Real truth is steady. Real love does not require you to abandon your growth to preserve connection. You are being taught the difference between emotional attachment and spiritual alignment. Attachment clings even when something is unhealthy. Alignment feels peaceful even when it requires letting go. Attachment thrives on fear of loss. Alignment thrives on trust in God's direction. This is why the truth is being unmasked now, because you are finally ready to choose alignment over attachment. There will be moments where grief tries to convince you that seeing the truth means everything you felt was fake. That is not true. What you felt was real. Your love was real. Your intentions were real. What is being unmasked is not your heart, it is the situation around it. You are allowed to mourn what you hoped for, without returning to what broke you. You are allowed to miss the good, without denying the harm. You are allowed to feel both relief and sadness at the same time. Healing is not one emotion. It is many, moving together. You may find that your prayers begin to change. You may stop asking God to fix people and start asking Him to strengthen you. You may stop asking Him to restore what was and start asking Him to prepare what will be. You may stop asking why things happened and start thanking Him for showing you when He did. There is a wisdom being formed in you now that cannot be taught by words alone. It comes from lived experience. From disappointment that didn't destroy you. From waiting that refined you. From truth that is now setting you free. You will begin to notice how differently you respond to triggers. Things that once pulled you into overthinking now barely shake you. Situations that once dominated your emotional world now feel distant. That is not because you stopped caring, it is because you stopped bleeding. God is healing you at the root, not just at the symptom. You are also learning that closure does not always come from conversation. Sometimes closure comes from clarity. From seeing what is, instead of arguing about what should have been. From releasing the need to be understood by those who never truly listened. From accepting that some people will never admit the truth, even when it stands right in front of them. You do not need permission to move on. You do not need agreement to grow. You do not need their confession to be free. What God reveals to you in your spirit is already enough. You are stepping into a season where your inner world will become more stable than your outer circumstances. Where peace will no longer depend on people's behavior. Where you will no longer hand over your emotional power to unpredictability. And as this stability grows, you may notice that what once excited you now feels empty. What once entertained you now feels noisy. What once felt urgent now feels unimportant. This is not boredom, it is discernment sharpening. You are beginning to crave depth, truth, substance, consistency, safety, integrity. And God delights in that. Because this clarity is preparing you for something purer, stronger, and more aligned than anything you have known before. But you cannot carry old illusions into new dimensions. That is why the unmasking had to happen first. As this clarity settles deeper into your spirit, you may begin to feel both lighter and lonelier at the same time. Lighter because you are no longer carrying illusions. Lonelier because fewer people can walk with you at this level of awareness. This is one of the quiet costs of growth that no one really prepares you for. When your eyes open, not everyone you love can come with you into what you now see. And that is one of the most tender places where God meets you. You may wonder why truth feels heavy at first, even though it sets you free. It is because every truth carries with it a letting go. Letting go of false hopes. Letting go of imagined futures. Letting go of versions of people that only existed in your longing. Letting go of the role you played to please, to preserve, to protect something that was already unraveling. And grief always follows release before peace takes its full shape. There may be days when you feel strong and steady, and then suddenly a wave of sadness hits you out of nowhere. Memories surface. Words replay. You wonder how something that felt so real could hold so much illusion inside it. Do not interpret those moments as weakness. They are simply the layers of your heart adjusting to its new truth. Healing is not a straight line. It is a gentle undoing. God is not rushing you through this. He is walking with you through every emotion that rises. You are allowed to feel it all, the relief, the anger, the confusion, the gratitude, the hurt, the hope. None of it surprises him. None of it disqualifies you. Every tear you shed now waters the ground of the new life he is forming within you. You are also learning something new about yourself, that you are stronger than you once believed. There was a time when the idea of losing certain people, certain dreams, certain connections would have shattered you. And yet here you are, hurting, yes, but not destroyed. Disappointed, yes, but not hopeless. Shaken, yes, but not lost. That is evidence of God's hand on your life even when you didn't fully notice it. What once controlled your peace no longer has the same power. What once felt like the center of your world now takes its rightful place on the edges. What once defined your days is now simply a chapter you are closing with wisdom. This is not emotional numbness. This is emotional maturity being formed. You may notice that you no longer rush to share everything with everyone. You choose silence more often. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you now understand the value of your inner life. Not everyone deserves access to what God is doing inside you. Some people only want information. Others want transformation. You are learning the difference. You are becoming quieter, but deeper. Calmer, but more powerful. Less reactive, but more discerning. There is also a subtle courage growing in you. Not the loud kind that demands recognition. The quiet kind that makes hard decisions without needing applause. The courage to walk away without needing to prove why. The courage to say, "This no longer serves me," even when it once meant everything. The courage to trust God even when the path ahead is still not fully clear. You may be tempted at times to look back and wonder if you judged too harshly. If you misunderstood. If you acted too quickly by simply shifting your heart. That inner questioning is natural for someone who loves deeply. But hear this: discernment is not cruelty. Clarity is not betrayal. Choosing yourself is not selfish when God is the one guiding you to do it. You did not suddenly change for no reason. You changed because your soul matured through disappointment and prayer. You changed because the truth finally found you at a depth where you could receive it. You changed because God is preparing you for a life that requires a stronger foundation. There are things ahead of you that would not survive the old version of you. The next season requires a you who can say no without guilt. A you who can walk away without collapsing. A you who can love without losing yourself. A you who can stand alone without feeling abandoned. This unmasking is not the end of your story. It is the line between the old chapter and the new one. And yes, there will be moments where you feel the urge to go back, not because it was healthy, but because it was familiar. Familiar pain often feels safer than unfamiliar peace. But God is teaching you to choose what is healthy even when it feels uncomfortable at first. You are also beginning to notice how your intuition reacts now. When something is off, you feel it quickly. When someone is truthful, your spirit rests. When something is forced, your energy withdraws. This is not overthinking. This is alignment becoming natural to you. You are no longer asking for signs the way you used to. You are becoming the sign that your life is changing. You are no longer chasing confirmation in every direction. You are learning to trust what God has already confirmed within you. There are people who will not understand this version of you. They may say you have changed. They may say you are distant. They may say you are no longer the same. And they will be right, you are not the same. You are waking up. You are becoming steady. You are becoming grounded. You are becoming free. Not everyone benefits from your freedom. Some people only knew how to access the wounded version of you. When that version begins to heal, they no longer recognize how to reach you. That is not your fault. That is the cost of becoming whole. And still, in all of this, God is not only taking things away, He is also preparing to give. But what He gives will be stronger than what you lost, because it will be built on truth, not illusion. It will be mutual, not one-sided. It will bring peace, not constant anxiety. The unmasking you are experiencing now is not meant to leave you empty. It is meant to clear space for something that can finally last. You are not falling apart. You are falling into alignment. As everything settles, you will begin to notice that the noise inside you is quieter. Not gone completely, but softened. The urgency to fix, to prove, to chase, to convince, those impulses no longer dominate your thoughts. Instead, there is a new rhythm forming in your spirit. A steady one. A grounded one. A rhythm that does not depend on what anyone else is doing, saying, choosing, or avoiding. This is the beginning of inner freedom, and it is one of the rarest gifts God gives. You will start to experience peace in places where chaos once lived. You will breathe differently. You will sleep differently. You will respond differently. And sometimes, you will pause in the middle of an ordinary moment and realize, I am not as anxious as I used to be. That is how you will know that healing is no longer just an idea, it has become part of your nature. There will still be moments when your heart remembers. A song. A place. A date. A familiar phrase. And for a second, time will fold in on itself. You will feel the echo of who you once were. But you will not fall apart the way you once would have. You will feel it, acknowledge it, and let it pass. That is strength. That is growth. That is what it looks like when God restores without erasing your humanity. You are no longer asking God to show you the truth the way you did before. Now you are asking Him to help you walk in it. And that is a powerful shift. Seeing the truth is one thing. Living according to it requires trust at a deeper level. It means choosing differently even when the old choices still call your name. It means honoring your boundaries even when loneliness whispers that compromise would be easier. It means waiting for what is right instead of settling for what is available. And yes, there may be moments where you feel tired of being strong. Where you wish something, or someone, would just be easy. Where you long for rest that doesn't require vigilance. God sees that longing too. He does not judge it. He understands how heavy awareness can feel at times. That is why He does not ask you to carry this alone. He invites you to lean into Him in ways you never could before, because now your faith is not built on illusion, it is built on truth. You will begin to notice who truly supports your growth and who merely tolerates it. The difference will become clear without explanation. Support will feel light. Tolerance will feel heavy. Support will not require you to shrink. Tolerance will subtly pressure you to stay the same. And you will quietly choose where you invest your heart from now on. You are also learning that not every chapter needs closure the way the world defines it. Some chapters close without apology. Some without explanation. Some without justice as you imagined it. But they still close, and you still move forward. And God, in ways you cannot yet fully see, redeems even the chapters that end without answers. One day, you will look back at this season and see it with clarity instead of pain. You will understand why the unmasking had to happen when it did. You will see how it saved you from roads that would have cost you far more than you could afford to lose. You will recognize how the delays protected you, how the disappointments redirected you, how the revelations refined you. You will see that what felt like loss was actually alignment. You will see that what felt like rejection was protection. You will see that what felt like confusion was the beginning of wisdom. And most of all, you will see that God never left you in the dark. He was simply waiting until you were strong enough to carry the light. You are not behind in life. You are not late. You are not missing what is meant for you. What is meant for you is being prepared in a way that will not require you to betray yourself to receive it. You do not have to go back. You do not have to settle. You do not have to explain your healing. You only have to keep walking forward with the truth God has placed in your hands. You are no longer the person who needs to be convinced of their worth. You are no longer the person who confuses intensity with love. You are no longer the person who stays where you are unseen. You are becoming someone who chooses peace without guilt. Someone who chooses clarity without fear. Someone who chooses God without bargaining. And in this becoming, you are not losing yourself. You are finally meeting yourself. The unmasking was never meant to embarrass you. It was meant to liberate you. It was meant to return your power. It was meant to bring you home to the parts of your soul that had been waiting patiently for you to choose truth over illusion. And now you have. So take a breath. Release what no longer belongs to you. Trust what God has shown you. And walk forward without looking back. Because the truth you now carry is not a burden, it is your beginning.